Tirtha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisvatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisvatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisvatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisvatyata. Okay, questions? Yes, please.
I have to remind you of one question. And that question was, what is the definition of composite space and how is that a permanent phenomenon?
Okay. I think now this is the right time for this question. Yes. What exactly is the non-composite space and how that is permanent? Okay. Ready? How many of you are interested to know this? Okay, Mark is there. Okay, good. Okay. First, the definition of permanent phenomena. Permanent phenomena. Permanent phenomena is understood in two ways. How the ordinary people understand it and how the philosophers and logicians understand permanent phenomena. Permanent phenomena, ordinary people understand permanent phenomena as something which is durable, something which is enduring, something which is eternal. This is how ordinary people understand permanent, but this is not how the logicians and the philosophers understand it. In other words, in simple terms, in a very the unprofessional sense, permanence means something eternal. But professionally or technically, permanence means something which is devoid of change. Impermanence is something which changes, something which has changed, something which changes, and permanent is something which does not change, which is devoid of change. This is the definition. It is not understood whether something lasts forever, eternal, not eternal. This is not it has nothing to do with permanence. Permanence means something which is devoid of change. Okay, now with this in mind, non-composite space. Now that we already introduced to the word, the entities, isolates, right? We are already introduced to this. It becomes easy for us now. Okay, let's say that okay, what is in my hand? A flower. Okay, what is in my hand now? Wow. So in 6 days you become, not 6 days, 5 days. 4 days. In 4 days you become logician, right? Absence of flower. Very good. Okay, absence of flower is there. Tell me, what is the difference between these two things? Okay, what is in my left hand?
Flowers.
Flower. What is in my right hand? Absence of flower. Okay, let's say in my right hand is what flower is that? Yellow flower. In my left hand is a yellow flower. In my right hand, imagine a blue flower. Okay, tell me, what is in my left hand?
Yellow flower.
What is in my right hand?
Imaginary blue flower.
Huh?
Imaginary blue flower.
What is in my left hand? Blue flower. Blue flower, imaginary blue flower. Imaginary blue flower. Very good. Okay. No blue flower. Because if you blue flower, people think that he's a magician. Right? So there's no blue flower there. It's an imaginary blue flower. Okay, now tell me, what's the difference between these two things? Just pick your mind. Just pick your mind. Difference between the yellow flower and the imaginary blue flower. Okay. What's the difference? What's the difference between these two? Just pick your mind. Very quick. Very quick.
One is real, the other is not.
One is real and one is not. Anyone else?
One comes from the object, but the other comes from...
A color. What's the color of this? Yellow. What's the color of this one? Oh, this is blue. It's also a color, right? Imaginary blue is not imaginary blue is not blue, right? Okay, it has no color. It's an imaginary color. It's not a color, right? Okay. Now, anyone else? What's the difference? Okay. Do you agree with me that the flower here, this has a substance, has a flower, and this imaginary flower does not have a substance. You getting it? Okay. Because this has a substance, this substance undergoes changes. Yes, no? Because there is no substance. With the imaginary flower, there is no substance, there is nothing which undergoes change. Change means there should be substance there which undergoes change. You getting it? Now, if you understood this, now tell me, the same flower. The same flower. Okay. Left hand is the yellow flower. Right hand is absence of a flower. You said absence of flower. Absence of flower exists, not exists? It exists. The flower has a substance. Absence of flower does not have a substance. Yes? Is there substance there to say that this is known as absence of flower? Is there substance? There's no substance there. So absence of flower does not have any substance. Flower has a substance. Absence of flower does not have a substance. So therefore, the flower, because it has substance, it undergoes changes. It is impermanent. Absence of flower, it does not have a substance. So therefore, it does not undergo change. You getting it? Okay, because it does not undergo change. Change is what? Impermanence. Because it does not undergo change, it is not impermanent. Because it is not impermanent, it should be permanent. You're getting it? So the absence, any absence should be always permanent. Any absence should be always permanent. You're getting it? Absence of flower, absence of food, absence of... Okay, so the Buddha, right? Buddha has the absence of afflictions, yes?
Yes.
Buddha has the absence of afflictions. So the absence of afflictions in the Buddha's mind is permanent, impermanent. Okay, so somebody said, who said it? Day one, the cessation, who said it? Is it there? Kecha, Virginia, you said it was cessation? On day one? Yes. So, the point is cessation. Cessation means absence. Cessation means absence. Right? Absence of flower is permanent, impermanent. What have you learned now?
Permanent.
It's permanent. So absence of affliction is permanent, impermanent. But all absences are permanent. So absence of afflictions is known as cessation of afflictions. So therefore cessation of afflictions is permanent. Right? And cessation of affliction is nirvana. Nirvana is permanent. You get how nirvana is permanent. Nirvana is permanent because nirvana should be understood as the absence of afflictions, and absence of afflictions is permanent. You're getting it? Okay. Now what I said is absence of anything is permanent. Okay, my hand. Okay, this flower, is this absent of Nico? Hey, this flower, is it absent of Nico? Yes. So this flower, absence of Nico is permanent. This flower, right? Okay, this flower is absent of Nico. Absence of Nico is permanent. Now, okay, do you see a space between me and you? Do you see a space with you? How do you know that there's a space between you and me? How do you know that there's a space between me and you? How do you know? With your eyes. You can see this with your eyes. What your valid eyes can see is always impermanent. Don't forget it. What your valid eyes can see is impermanent. So therefore, this space that I'm seeing between you and me, the space between you, the space that you're seeing between you and me, this space is composite space, impermanent space. You getting it? Okay, now, let's say this flower and the flower, this flower and the absence of Nico. This flower, absence of being Nico. This flower and the absence of being Nico. This flower is permanent, impermanent. Impermanent. This flower being absent of Nico. This permanent, impermanent. Permanent. Okay. So this flower and the absence of Nico. The flower being absent of Nico. These two are entity-wise one or different? Entity-wise one. Isolated-wise one or different? Isolated-wise different. How? How? Because flower is impermanent and absence of Nico is permanent. These two are different. You're getting it? Isolated-wise different. You're getting it? Isolated. Now, this flower, how many of such characteristics are there? This flower is impermanent, this flower is existent, this flower is flower, this flower is absent of Nico, this flower is absent of tiger, this flower is absent of chocolate. Right? How many such characteristics are there with this flower? Infinite characteristics are there. You getting it? Okay. Likewise, the space between us, the space that we are seeing between us, this space also has infinite characteristics. You getting it? This space, does it have tiger? No. This space being empty of tiger is permanent, impermanent. Hey, permanent, impermanent. Permanent. This space does it have obstruction? This space, does it obstruct you? You can freely move. You're getting it? It does not have obstruction. So this space does not have obstruction. So this space, which is a composite space, has one of the characteristics is absence of obstruction. So absence of obstruction is permanent, impermanent? Permanent. And it is the characteristic of the composite space. So this space, absence of obstruction is given the label non-composite space because this is also known as space. What space? Is it permanent, impermanent? Permanent. Permanent and non-composite, these two are synonymous. Permanent and non-composite, these two are synonymous. So this space is known as non-composite space. You're getting it? So this non-composite space is permanent. Okay, tell me, what is a non-composite space? The space which you are seeing between you and me, is this non-composite space? No, this is composite space. What is a non-composite space? It is the absence of obstruction. Absence of obstruction, which is one of the characteristics of this space. Absence of obstruction, which is one of the characteristics of this space, is known as the non-composite space. And this space is permanent, impermanent? Permanent. You're getting it? So the non-composite space is a quality. One of the characteristics of the composite space. So the absence of the obstruction is one of the characteristics. This absence of obstruction is known as the non-composite space, and that is permanent. You're getting it? Okay, good. That is done. Next question.
I have two questions related to this. In the 6 elements, there is the element of space. Which one is it? And what is composite space made of?
Okay. This is a good question. So 2 questions. Number 1, when you speak about the 6 elements, and what are the 6 elements? Earth, water, fire, air, space, consciousness. Space. That space, is that the composite space or non-composite space? This is a good question. So answer is composite space. 1. Then what's the next question?
What is it made of?
Okay, if it is composite space, what is this made of? This is a good question. The composite space is made of parts. It's made of parts. For example, say this bottle. this bottle, inside there's a composite space. You can see the composite space inside? Yes. So this composite space, it has some length and some diameter. Length and diameter. So the first part, second part, third part, fourth part, you divide like this. So this space, composite space, is made of the smaller parts of this space. Okay, next question. Next question. No question there. Hey,
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, Maria.
Composite space, is it also permanent?
Composite space.
Yeah.
Composite is all composite and impermanence. These two are synonymous.
Synonymous.
Composite, impermanence. Okay, any question from the group discussion? Very quick. Any question? Because I know that there are many questions from the group discussions. Yes.
In the four immeasurable, what exactly is the difference between loving kindness and immeasurable joy?
Okay. In the four immeasurable practice of four immeasurables, what's the difference between the loving kindness and the immeasurable joy? Okay, good question. Okay, first, immeasurable loving kindness. Immeasurable loving kindness is the feeling of love which wishes others to be endowed with happiness and the cause of happiness.
Including enlightenment? Including enlightenment?
No, that's up to the individual. That's up to the individual. You say, if I have no clue of what enlightenment is, if I'm a very young child, I see that my mother doesn't have a car, right? May my mother have a car. That is the loving kindness. Whereas,
can we say it's conventional happiness?
no, anything is fine. It could be conventional happiness or whatever. It doesn't matter. So immeasurable, right? Loving kindness. At the moment, we are making distinction between loving kindness in the context of four immeasurables and the joy in the context of immeasurable, the joy, right? So this is the distinction that we're making. Loving kindness is a feeling of love which wishes others to have happiness and the cause of happiness. And the joy is that the feeling of love which wishes that others are not separated from happiness and the cause of happiness. So the person does not have happiness, so you wish that they have happiness. Joy is they already have happiness, that they are not separated. May this happiness be stable. May it not disappear. This is joy. Okay, next question. Yes.
I already asked it, Kailash, if you can remember. I'm still not aware of a composite, what it means. The first question of the quiz.
Composite, yes.
Composite.
What is the meaning of composite?
Yeah.
Okay, composite, this is a good question. Composite, good question. Composite is something which is composed of particles, or which is composed of mental segments. With the mind, there's no particles. Mind, there's a temporal segments. First moment of the mind, second moment of the mind, third moment of the mind. So either it should be composed of particles, or it should be composed of the temporal mental segments. So that is known as composite. For example, this eye, mark is composed of the atoms, physical particles, and the mental segments. Right? First year of Mark's mind, second year of Mark's mind, third year Mark's mind, like this. They are made of the temporal segments in time of the mind. So that is composite.
But how can I see it? As soon as it is composite, it is impermanent.
Okay, so how can I know that if something is composite, it should be impermanent? This is a good question. Okay, let's say.
Why?
Okay, let's say composite. Say the table. Table is composed of the physical particles. Physical particles. You look at the table, you see the table as very static. You look at the ceiling, you see the ceiling as very static. Actually, it's not static, it's moving. It's moving. Even the ceiling is also moving. because it's made of millions of atoms, and the atoms are constantly moving like this. Because the ceiling, when you touch it, you see the word heat. Ceiling has the heat. Because you touch it, it's not terribly cold, which means it has a heat. Heat means it's moving. Movement is happening. Right? So likewise the body, which seems to be so composite, even the stone there. Even that it may feel a little cold, but it's not 0 degree cold. It is not 0 degree cold means it is hotter than 0 degree. Hotter than 0 degree, it has some heat there. Right? So therefore it is movement. And the mind, it moves every moment. The mind, it moves every moment. It changes every moment. Every time you get new information, the mind is changing. So therefore, composite things should be changing, impermanent. What is changing is impermanent. Okay, Virginia.
Sur les quatre incommensurables, parfois, la joie, c'est le souhait que les êtres ne soient jamais séparés du bonheur des renaissances fortunées ou de la libération. Et dans ce cas-là, je me demandais pourquoi l'équanimité arrivait quand même après.
Sometimes in the third infinite joy, sometimes we say in the prayers, may all beings never be separated from everlasting happiness of higher rebirth and cessation, nirvana. And her question is about why the equanimity is the last one. Is that?
Okay. Why the equanimity is last? Okay, so ideally speaking, you can practice it in any ways you like. It is not necessary that equanimity should be last. You can practice it in any ways. Finally, your mind should be growing. Your mind should become more compassionate. Even if you do the equanimity first and the other three later, still your mind will continue to grow compassion in terms of your affection. Right? So there's no hard and fast rule as such. Now the point is that I said first three, it is particularly with emphasis on your feeling of love and affection. Your feeling of love and affection. Fourth one, equanimity, is with others. That others, they are suffering because they don't love each other. So first three is more with the self. The fourth one is more with the others. They don't love each other. So therefore you pray that others, everybody loves each other. That nobody hates, nobody dislikes each other. Nobody has anger towards each other. So that is the equanimity. Okay. Yes, Aude?
Négation affirmative.
Oh, could you give an example of affirming negation?
Affirming negative. Affirming negative or negation. Affirming. Non-affirming. First you have to give me an example. Non-affirming negative. Non-affirming negative. What example? Non-affirming.
Emptiness?
Very good. Emptiness, non-affirming. Very good. Okay. Emptiness, non-affirming negative. Good. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink coffee. This is affirming, non-affirming. Hey, I don't drink coffee. This is affirming negative, non-affirming negative. Non-affirming negative. Very good. Non-affirming negative. Affirming negative. Let's say that, say the world #1 bodybuilder never eats anything in the night time. The world #1 bodybuilder never eats anything in the night time. If you are the attendant of the world #1 bodybuilder, you serve the food in the night time or in the daytime? Huh? How do you know this? He did not tell you that he eats in the daytime. He just said that I never eat in the night time.
Only two possibilities.
Huh?
Only two possibilities.
Okay, so the point is that this is, you reject him eating food in the night time, right? Night time. But he is the world #1 bodybuilder. He must be eating something. Without eating, he cannot become the world #1 bodybuilder. So therefore, he must be eating in the daytime. So you serve in the daytime. So that is affirmed. Eating in the daytime is affirmed. That's the affirming negative. Okay, the next question. Chen.
Yeah, about the suffering of change.
Suffering change, yes.
We said that with any pleasant, mundane sensation.
A pleasant,
Yes.
mundane, pleasant happiness.
Happiness. But I want to know if we have some pleasant feelings about something, we like something, but we don't attachment.
Okay, let's see. We have some, let's say, the pleasant moments.
Yeah.
Pleasant moments, or you say, what is this? Almonds. I don't like it actually. No. But it's okay, it's fine. I enjoy this, it's fine. So it's that. This pleasant feeling. This pleasant feeling is a suffering of change. Answer is still yes. Because, say, I'm still munching it. Right? Otherwise I can throw it. I'm still munching it. Which means that I have a tinge of my mind is pulled. How I see this taste, objectively real or like a dream? You like to try it? You try it and then see whether it's like a dream or is objectively real. You will see it as objectively real. You see it objectively real, taste, and then your mind says, okay, I like it 10%. 10% you are attached. 10% you are attached. So although you say, ordinary people will say there is no attachment. Ordinary people will describe something as attachment when the attachment is more than 50%. Whereas in reality, even 10% have attachment is also attachment. Right? Seeing the pleasant feeling as Jack is your responsibility. No, okay. So, you see the pleasant feeling as objective real, and then your mind, I like it. So you go to the object. You go to the object. That is known as involuntary pull. As long as the 10% involuntary pull, 1% involuntary pull, there is involuntary pull. This is attachment.
So any pleasant of
not any mundane pleasant feeling is always suffering of change.
But can we have something not mundane pleasant?
Okay, this is the next question. Very good. Now, can we have non-mundane, uncontaminated happiness?
Even we are in samsara.
Okay, can we have uncontaminated happiness while we're in samsara? While in samsara, yes. But not for sure samsara. Okay, tell me. Somebody who raised the gade. What's next? Paragate. Somebody who reached the paragate level, is he in samsara or not? Yes, no?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Paragate, you see emptiness directly. You are still in samsara?
Don't see it all the time.
No, this is
Huh?
could be Vixism.
Sorry?
Even he has, this person has already realized her
Emptiness directly.
He could also be in samsara.
Samsara, very good. The answer is yes. So, same for the Shravaka and Pratik Buddhas, unless and until they reach Bodhiswaha, they are still in samsara. Paragate, Parasangate, still samsara. For the Bodhisattvas, Gate Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, send 10 divisions, 10 bhumis. When they reach the 8th bhumi, then they become, they are not samsara. They are free from samsara. Till that point, still samsara. Although they realize emptiness directly. You getting it? Okay. So these people who have the direct realized emptiness, when you directly realize emptiness, the feeling that you have is a very pleasant feeling. That pleasant feeling is uncontaminated pleasant feeling. So the person is still in samsara, but you have the uncontaminated pleasant feeling, which is not suffering of change. Very good question. Any new hands? Okay, Maria.
Yes, still back to the composite space, just because I wanted the impermanence of the composite space. So I understand that when something is made of particles or temporal segments, then it's undergoing change all the time. But the composite space, is it made of parts according to the geographical directions, like north, south, west,
Yes.
east, but then it's not undergoing change.
Why not?
Because it's not like the temporal time is going, or the
Spatial,
particle.
directional paths.
Yeah.
It has directional paths, yes. This composite space is towards my right side. This composite space is towards the left side. It is directional paths.
Yeah, directional parts. But they are not undergoing momentary change, the directional parts, are they?
The moment you said, oh, this hall is too big, we have to make it smaller, then you make another, say, wall thicker, the space inside is changed.
But similarly, if I put where there is the absence of the pen, I put the pen there is change.
No, pen, absence of the pen does not have a substance. It does not have a substance. This is not something which our eyes can see. Which our eyes, we say that I see it because we negate it by seeing the negation, right? Whereas the space, composite space, we directly see this.
But so it doesn't go momentary change
It undergoes momentary change, yes.
But it changes when it is being changed.
It undergoes change. It undergoes momentary change. In fact, all composite things should necessarily be momentarily changing. Yes, the question is very good, but keep in mind, all composite things should necessarily have momentary change. Every composite phenomenon. Okay, there's one question from Alex. What's the question? Yes.
Today we discussed about conventional reality.
Yes.
If we say that everything comes from the subject, what conditions us to see the same in the object? I mean, for example, if to the people here you take out the image and you don't say who is this, you show it is the image of Buddha. Every of us will see the Buddha. But if everything is from the subject, why our mind
is saying the same thing?
Saying the same thing, if there is nothing
there from the object. Okay, this is a good question. Did you follow the question? The question is, if everything coming from your mind, if there are 100 people, say there are like 30 people, we should be seeing 30 different people, 30 different things. What is in my hand? You will say 30 different answers because there are 30 different. There's nothing from the object. There's nothing from the object. It's coming from the subject. Your mind can see different things. You're getting it? But we are seeing the same thing. So why we are seeing the same thing if there is nothing from the object? Did you follow the question? How good is the question? Very good. You can give the answer?
We have the same obscuration.
We have the same obscurations.
Oh, we have the same obscurations. Obscuration what?
We don't see the vacuity, we see the phenomena.
Okay, the same, say the obscuration, mental defilement, which made us to see the same object. Same object. Okay, say. Okay, imagine that we put on blue glasses. All of us, we put on blue glasses. You look at the ceiling. What will you see? Blue ceiling. Is there blue ceiling?
No.
Huh? No. We are all seeing the same thing, right? Although there's no blue ceiling there, but we are all seeing the same blue ceiling. Why are we seeing the same thing? Although it's not there, because we are having the same blue glasses. So this is what Martin said. We are having the same karmic, the karmic ignorance. We have the same karmic ignorance, which made us to see the same thing, right? Yes, Nico.
a bodhisattva, does he eliminate self-centered attitude when he reaches the first gate or when he reaches bodhiswaha?
Okay, bodhisattvas, when will they remove this self-centered attitude? This is a good question. To remove mental defilements, to remove self-centered attitude, there are two ways of removing the mental defilements. One is subduing, otherwise eradicating. Subduing is like, I give you an example. You remember it? Suddenly His Holiness the Dalai is coming, right? All the shoes shouldn't be there. So what do? We have no time to remove them. What do? You cover it this with a nice cloth and put some flowers. Right? And so the dirty thing is gone. But the dirty thing is inside there. So this is known as suppressing. It is not eradicating, it's suppressing. Now you have a time. We were already informed 1 day ago. Then we will not remove all the slippers here, we will keep in a different place. You uproot it. One is uprooting and one is temporarily subsiding. Two ways. You're getting it? So self-centered attitude, subsiding happens at 3 different phases. 3 different stages. Same, the very intelligent bodhisattvas, mediocre bodhisattvas, and the less intelligent bodhisattvas. Gate, parasamgate, bodhiswaha. Most intelligent bodhisattvas, when there is the second part, paragate. What is the second part? What is the second part? What is the first part? Part of accumulation. What is the second part? Part of preparation. What is the third part? Okay, French listeners, what is the third part? Part of seeing. What is the fourth part? Part of meditation. What is the fifth part? Part of normal learning. Very good. Okay, the 5 parts, you're getting it? The 5 parts. Now, very intelligent bodhisattvas, most intelligent bodhisattvas, when they reach the second part of preparation, the moment they switch to the second part, then the self-centered attitude, the self-centered attitude manifests, self-centered attitude subsides, and not only subside, they gain the confidence. And henceforth, self-centered attitude manifests. Self-centered attitude will never arise. They get the confidence. For the most intelligent bodhisattvas. Now the mediocre bodhisattvas, when they reach the paragate is which part? Part of seeing. When there is part of seeing, then they only then, at that level, the mediocre bodhisattvas, mediocre intelligent bodhisattvas, they will get the confidence. Okay, now the self-centered attitude, the manifest form of self-centered attitude will never arise within me. Now, what's the third one? Third one word. The least intelligent bodhisattvas. When there is the parasangate divided into 10 bhumis. Parasangate divided into 10 bhumis. The 8th bhumi. Only when they reach the 8th bhumi, then they get the confidence that henceforth the manifest self-centered attitude will not arise. Right? These are the 3 different stages. Now, uprooting this self-centered attitude happens only at the bodhiswaha. Uprooting self-centered attitude will happen only in bodhiswaha. But we say that the manifest the self-centered attitude will be got rid of at 3 different stages. Gade, paragate, parasamgate. And uprooting, cleaning completely happens only in bodhiswaha.
But bodhicitta is a special main mind that is really the opposite of the self-centered attitude. So how can even a bodhisattva on the path of accumulation have such a mind?
Okay. This is a good question. Okay, say let's say that when you have compassion, when you feel compassionate, right? But it doesn't mean that compassion is always 24 hours, compassion is with you. Right? So, then the next moment somebody says, you stole my things. Right? Anger can arise. But the compassion did not disappear. Compassion has gone into the form of the seed. It remained in the form of seed. It did not disappear. It turned into the seed. And anger rises. Where anger rises, compassion is not there, but compassion remains in the form of seed. Next moment, again anger subsides, again the compassion comes back. Likewise, bodhicitta. Same, somebody generous bodhicitta, very intense, spontaneous bodhicitta, right? Anger can arise once in a while. When anger arises, bodhicitta doesn't disappear. It remains a form of, still it remains a form of active seed. Not really dormant, or how can you say dormant, but active seed, in the form of seed. Still very active, but in the form of seed. So therein, when anger rises, bodhicitta goes down in the form of a seed, not the manifest mind. Right? When the anger subsides, again bodhicitta can arise. Right? It is there.
Could you explain the conclusion of the 4 essentials to establish emptiness? Now?
What is that? 4th or 5th, 6th? Which day?
4 days.
4 days, right?
Yeah.
So we said that it will be done when?
You just told me, please
tomorrow.
remind me. Okay, tomorrow. So that the difference between selflessness and emptiness?
Okay, difference between the selflessness and emptiness. Okay, good question. Okay. Generally speaking, and in a specific context too. Generally speaking, selflessness and emptiness mean the same. Generally speaking. Generally speaking, meaning that if you are talking to some, say, non-Buddhist people, or if you're talking to somebody who has no exposure to philosophy, or in Buddhism, Buddha talks about selflessness, emptiness, you can just equate the two. Now, say, in this specific context, Vaibhashika, Sautantrika, Chittamatra, Madhyamika, you go into this specific context, then it differs. For example, say Vaibhashika. Now what's next? Sautantrika. These two schools, they speak 99%. They speak about selflessness. They don't speak about emptiness. Vaibhashika, Sautantrika, they speak about selflessness. So they don't use the word emptiness. But they do use once in a while, 99% they use the word selflessness, not really emptiness. But they do use, don't forget it, they do use emptiness word once in a while. But mostly they use the word selflessness. Now Chittamatra, Madhyamika, these two are the ones who use selflessness, emptiness, both. Okay. Now, according to these two schools, then we speak about first, let's say selflessness. Selflessness of person, selflessness of phenomena. Self-person, selfless phenomena. So for these two students, say Chittamatra, Madhyamika, there are two. Right? Madhyamika, there are two. What are they? Swatantrika Madhyamika and Prasangika Madhyamika. Okay. Keep Prasangika aside. Chittamatra and Swatantrika Madhyamika, these two schools, they equate selflessness of phenomena and emptiness. They equate. For them, selflessness of phenomena and emptiness mean the same. Selflessness of person and emptiness, these two are not the same. Selflessness of phenomena and emptiness mean the same for these two schools. Right? Now, for Prasangika, For Prasangika, selflessness of, say, selflessness of person, selflessness of phenomena. Selflessness of person, selflessness of phenomena. So selflessness of person. Okay, let's say the selflessness of person, it has gross and the subtle. Right? Subtle selflessness of person and the emptiness of person, synonymous. Subtle one. Subtle selflessness of person and emptiness of the person, these two are synonymous. And selflessness of phenomena and emptiness of phenomena, these two are synonymous. Selflessness of phenomena and emptiness of phenomena, these two are synonymous. Selflessness of person, two, gross and the subtle. The subtle selflessness of person and the emptiness of person, these two are synonymous. The gross selflessness of person is not synonymous with emptiness, according to Prasangika. Right? So for this, it is not difficult. The only thing is we need a little more time. For example, if we get another, say if the retreat is for like 10 days, then we can have easy, slowly go like this. Right? It will take little time for us to digest. It's not difficult. Right? Simply put them to, and then we need a little bit of time to set and slowly imbibe. It's not difficult. It needs a little bit of time. Okay. Any more questions? I think, Alex, you have one question about unconditional love like this.
Yes.
What is that question?
The question is we say that we have loving kindness when we get benefit
Yes.
from someone. And the same we was talking about developing of loving kindness to neutral or to enemies, like finding benefits in them, which benefits we have to develop loving kindness. So it's like these benefits seems to be a condition.
Okay.
Why we say about unconditional love.
Okay, so we speak about to cultivate unconditional love. We speak about the Bodhisattva's practice of the love as unconditional love. Unconditional bodhicitta, unconditional compassion, unconditional love. But it is conditional. Why? Because, say, when you see that, because I'm benefited, so therefore I love you. Right? I benefited, so therefore, so this is conditional. Provided I get the benefit, then I love you. This is the condition. So how can it be unconditional? You getting it? Okay, this is a very serious question. Did you follow the question first? Did you follow the question? Did you get the question? How many of you did get the question? How many of you did not get the question? Okay, I'll ask the question once more. The compassion the Bodhisattvas should practice is known as unconditional compassion. You agree with me? Good. Unconditional compassion. Now, Alex is saying that the compassion the Bodhisattvas have, if this is how we practice, if the compassion Bodhisattvas have is the way we learned, the compassion, love, how we learned it, seeing the benefit that we get from neutral people, seeing the benefit that we get from the enemy, so therefore we love, If this is how the Bodhisattvas practice, then it is conditional. Conditional meaning, my love will flow to you on the condition that you give me benefit. Only if I get the benefit, with this condition that you give me, I get the benefit from you, then I will love you. If I don't get the benefit from you, I will not love you. Did you get the question now? Good. This is a very serious question. So when you speak about the unconditional love means unconditional love can be interpreted in various ways. Okay, let's say you reach a level of the bodhicitta. Say you reach a level of bodhicitta. At that level, when you reach that level, right? Okay, now condition here. What I'm sharing with you, what does mean by unconditional? Say, the moment you reach that level, no condition in terms of whether you're enemy, whether you're friend, with the neutral people, right? No condition at that point, not at the time of practicing, at the time of having reached that level. When you reach that level, no condition should be stopping you from the experience of compassion. For example, if the other person harms you, oh, you are harming me, you are right? You are harming me, so therefore I don't love you. No, you are harming me, therefore you are so kind, right? Harming me, your compassion flows. Non-harming me, my compassion flows, right? Neutral, my compassion flows. My compassion flows to every situation at that point. That is known as unconditional. No matter whatever condition that you face with, your compassion flows. Whereas doing the practice is different. To the practice, you have to think only, okay, so I receive the maximum benefit from you, so therefore my compassion flows like this. When you reach that compassion, then conditions will not make any difference. Right? Okay. The next question. Yes, Chen?
Yeah, I have a question about the problem of the take and give. Say, is it about mental training or
actual giving?
Yes.
Okay, this is a good question. So the Tonglen practice, is it that, say you do, okay, my happiness all goes to you, you're suffering, I'm taking it. Does it really, when you do that, does it really happen that other suffering actually go to you and your happiness actually go to them? Or it's just a mental exercise? This is a question. This is a good question. Okay. Okay, let me ask you one question. What is more important? Say Mr. A is hungry. Then I do the Tonglen practice, right? Okay, my pizza will go to Mr. A, and then not just thinking, okay, actually the practice should be in action, so pizza that I get, I give it to him, right? This is more than thinking, actually is happening, right? And you actually give the pizza, the tong, give. Okay, this is better. This better, or you practice it mentally, you practice it, and eventually because of this practice, you become Buddha, right? You become Buddha. So which is better? Becoming Buddha is better, or that you are able to give one piece of pizza to Mr. A is better?
Depends on the situation.
Oh.
If you really need something.
Yes.
Yeah.
So say when you become Buddha, there are so many infinite number of beings whose situation is worse than Mr. A. And you are able to benefit all these people. Right? Situation-wise, even that is worse. Where you are able to benefit infinite number, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 100,000, infinite number of people who are suffering worse than Mr. A, and you are able to benefit this because of Buddhahood. Not achieving Buddhahood, you just give one biscuit to Mr. A, finish. Which is better? Achieving Buddhahood is far, far better. You're getting it? So this practice, in most likelihood, almost like, okay, if I'm not too presumptuous, 99% it is mental exercise to become Buddha. It may not necessarily actually have an effect on the other person. But if you are highly realized, you can make effect on the other people. It can. If you provided you are highly realized. But for those of us who are not highly realized, this will no doubt make you still benefit others so much. How? By you becoming closer to Buddhahood.
But we say that even Buddha and Bodhicittas cannot take out from
Wow.
that.
Okay.
Yes, they can just teach us.
Oh, Venerable Elizabeth, why did you call me? I'm very sorry. Right? In future, if there's such good questions, don't call me. I will come prepared. Okay. Wow, this is a good question. Did you follow the question? The question is that if this can be actually done, right? Even though it is like 0.5%, whatever, if it can be done, then you give your happiness that the other beings, if you highly realize, right? When you highly realize, you do the tonglen, you give, and other beings they benefit, and you take the suffering will fall on you, right? Then, if this happens, then every morning we say, the Buddhas do not wash away the negative desires. Right? What is this stanza? So this stanza, Chen might have by heart. What is that stanza? Wow, it's amazing. Page 8. I don't know what is the French. Page 5. French page 5, English page 8. The Buddha does not wash the negativities of the beings, nor does he remove the miseries by his hands. Wow, it's amazing. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is only by teaching the truth of suchness that the beings are liberated. Wow. Hey Nico, why did you ask the Venerable Elizabeth to invite me? Okay, now I'm in problem. Chen, why did you create a problem? Okay, is there anyone who can help me now? We are in problem. Hey, it's day 4 now. On the one hand, we have the problem. What problem? Contradiction. But morning we are reading the text which says that it is only by teaching the truth of suchness that the beings are liberated. Now you are saying, Tonglen practice, you are saying that how do you realize beings? You give, people can be benefited. Right? And you take, people's suffering can be taken. So how can you reconcile the two things? Okay, Ocean, please save me.
Maybe the tonglen from the Buddha can help bringing happiness, but not enough to reach Buddhahood.
Okay, so this is, it is by teaching the truth of suchness beings are liberated means to take to the Buddhahood. Okay, tonglen is not really for the Buddhahood. Okay, it's quite good. But then there's another thing also. Right? If Chen knows this, she will again attack you very easily. Right? So luckily she doesn't know this. That is law of karma. Law of karma, there are two main premises. There are two main premises, meaning there are two main points of the law of karma. Law of karma says that the karma that you have never done, you will not experience the effect of the karma which you did not do. Number 1. The karma, you cannot evade the effect of the karma which you did. Karma which you did, you have to experience the results. Karma which you did not do, you will not experience the result. These are the two main highlight statements of the karma. So therefore, say the Bodhisattvas or the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, by giving the happiness, this happiness is not what other person they did the karma. This happiness because of the Bodhisattvas, his own karmic fruit. So how can the others can experience the karma which the Bodhisattvas engaged in, right? So how can you give what you have received from your karma to somebody else who have not accumulated their karma? It contradicts the law of karma also. Okay, so now Chen is so happy. Alright, Chen puts us in problem. Okay, Virginia, are you sure you want to help me, or you want to put me in more problem? Okay, Virginia, yes.
Maybe the Bodhisattva and the person have karma in common, and they have a link they've met before, and the Bodhisattva, by his practice, is helping to activate this seeds.
Okay, this is also a good answer. Wow. Okay, I don't know whether there's a common karma. There's what is known as a collective, yes, common karma, collective karma. Collective karma. But the point is that, the one is the collective karma. So, Chen, you're a highly realized Bodhisattva, right? And then the other person who is to receive the benefit from you do the tonglen practice. Then you are actually, in a way, you are helping to activate the karma of the other person. If the other person did not engage in the karma to receive benefit from you, however much you may do the practice, the person will not receive the benefit. The person should have the karma to receive benefit from you. That karma should be there. So with your practice, that karma is activated. Wow, thank you, Virginia. You saved me. Right? Okay, now the next point is say you, the Bodhisattva, and the beings, the sentient beings, the Bodhisattva or the Buddha, they do the practice of Tonglen. Very highly realized Bodhisattvas, not just the ordinary Bodhisattvas, very highly realized Bodhisattvas. They do the practice of Tonglen. So with this Tonglen, say, then whether you're connected with them, not connected with them, whether you accumulate karma, no karma, right? Then, okay, I give all the happiness to the beings they are, they're getting all the happiness. This is totally against low karma. This is totally against what this teaching said. Whereas, you have already accumulated your own karma, right? But that karma is not getting activated, right? One. And then you're going through pain. The karma is activated to receive the pain. Now the Bodhisattvas on the high level, or the Buddhas, what they can do is they can interject, or they can interrupt the flow of the negative karma of yours, right? And when the negative karma is interrupted, it does not ripen any further. It stops for a while. So this is giving what? Pain. Pain stops. So from outside we see now because of this Bodhisattva's practice, so now this person, the pain stops. In actuality what happens is that the negative karma ripening is stopped for a while. Temporarily it is stopped. You're getting it? It's not that his karma ripens on you. No. Your negative karma is stopped for a while. So therefore the pain disappeared. You're getting it? And the happiness you're getting is not because the Bodhisattva's happiness is transferred to you. Your karma to experience happiness, that's your karma is activated. Right? Very good question, thank you. Oh, I see. Okay. I would leave it on Nico. Nico will discuss with all of you. If you have more questions, perhaps maybe this evening we'll do it. Instead of group discussion, we'll do the questions. Are it possible? Last time when I was going around the group discussion, I see that there are so many good questions coming up. Right? All these questions in group, you must note them down. And give them to Nico and come on the table. If there are more questions, concrete questions, Nico will check. No more concrete questions. Then this evening we'll do question answers rather than group discussion. If there are not much questions, right, then you will do the group discussion as usual. Otherwise, because I need more time for tomorrow, tomorrow for the special class for emptiness, and then if possible, because they say I need also one session to discuss with you what should be your daily practice of emptiness. What should be daily practice of emptiness? If you have say 1 hour, half an hour, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, right? So how? And then if you have just very short time, for example, waiting for a car, like this, then how to use it for your practice of the wisdom emptiness. So for this I need one session separately. So therefore, in case you have more questions, and the questions are very important. If you have more questions, we'll do it this evening. If not, it doesn't matter. If you don't have much questions, then you continue with your. So Nico will inform me. Okay, dedication prayer. Mm, 284, and some of you have 280, 284. Okay, the section there's one section on staircase to emptiness. We don't have it. Okay, staircase to emptiness. It's not there.
Because the appendix is really interesting.
Yes. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, those of you who have the English version, there's a staircase to emptiness in the appendix. Appendix, page 289, I think. Page 289 or maybe 28.
38.
Huh?
38. 38, not 28.
No, what I'm saying is what I have is 289. In your book, it may be 290 or 210 or
293.
huh?
293.
293. Okay, those with English you have on page 293 or 289, whichever, right? So I would suggest you to read this. This will give you a good picture of meditation emptiness. Okay, those of you who do not have, who cannot read English, maybe later on I'll request Christophe to translate this into Spanish. Then Christophe. No, French. I don't know why. Why? I don't know why. Maybe because I was most of the time in America, Puerto Rico, El Salvador, and all these places, it's mostly Spanish. So because of that, okay, never mind. So the Christophe will translate into French, and then you get it. In fact, the Christophe so kindly translated even that handout, right, which we will be using. Okay, from tomorrow, maybe say the morning before the teaching starts, we read that part which you translated. Yeah. Yes, the handout. Yeah. Okay, now dedication prayer. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful charities, innocent girl, so please remain until samsara ends. Just as great Gueshe and Samavata too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow the perfect example. I dedicate all these rules of virtue with the dedication praises the best by all the Buddhas who appeared in the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, may that which is arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. As long as spirits remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain with this fellow miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of the Guru Buddha, and lead all beings without exception into the enlightened state. I dedicate the merits thus scattered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 3 times, and to the upholding the Dharma of teaching and realization. May all life through the force of this marriage and never separate from the 4 wheels of the mind and vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path of renunciation, Bodhicitta, perfect in the 2 stages. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate my full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem, I confess the negativities individually, I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings, I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. The path of union of emptiness and compassion is loosely explained by the protector both the Dharma and the beings no stolen. Through the lotus of the Tenzin Gyatso, we supplicate you their 2 wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans and non-humans who have merits through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be truly vanquished through the power of the truth of the 3 jewels. In all my life, never separated from perfect Gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of stages and paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general, with the teachings of dependent origin in particular, even in the course of my life. Gati Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Om Gate Gate